Hey guys, today we're going to be just considering ways to break down the Yubel Endboard. So the Yubel Endboard is pretty simple, I guess. It's Appaloosa made with usually like 3 or 4 materials. But we have to contest with this, and then we need to contest with the Unchained cards. So that's cool. A lot of Yubel cards on this Endboard. But anyways, Abominable Chamber of the Unchained. Well, actually not this one, the other one. Escape of the Unchained. And then we have Unchained Soul of Rage, Yama in the Graveyard, and we should usually also see, at minimum, this, so Nightmare Pain, and then a Phantom of Yubel. So this is what we're going to want to be beating, and we'll be considering ways to beat this, right? So the first thing worth noting, I guess, is that we have Unchained Soul of Rage and Unchained Soul of Rage. We also have Escape of the Unchained alongside this. So if we have, let's say, for example, of Pancratops, that this ain't gonna cut it, right? So if we are going to special summon the Pancratops, they can already threaten Soul of Rage onto the Pank. They can Appaloosa, negate the Pank. We cannot Pank do battle over Appo because of Nightmare Pain. Escape of the Unchained, so that this can remove just one of our cards as well. So essentially the things to take note of here is that we cannot abuse pain blocking Appaloosa, so we can't, for example, let's say normal summon Rosin. My opponent attempts to negate the Rosin, and then I try to use a Vanquish Soul to take out that Rosin, because then that will just be negated by Phantom of Yubel. So that kind of play is never going to work. And also, Unchained Soul of Rage can get rid of our monster, right? And if we wanted to try to get some protection, it's not going to work either. So if we had some kind of protection, like continuous effect, like for example the Pearly Field spell, that's not going to work. It's just going to get popped, and Unchained Soul Rage is still on the field. So that's no good. And if we were to just special summon like a guy, that type of strategy, just for the most part, won't work, because yeah, our opponent is going to be able to just kind of get rid of our guys, right? So this essentially, well, with the Unchained Soul of Rage, anything that special summons is just probably just not going to be good. So Fenrir, Pancratops, Hurikara, Div Incarnate, all of those are not gonna cut it. They're not good options. And if we do Dark Ruler no more, this only handles uh, a few of the interactions. This doesn't actually quite get us there, crazily enough. So, Phantom of Yubel, Appaloosa, and the Unchained Soul of Rage will all be negated, but Escape of the Unchained will still be activated, or activatable. And let's just assume we do this order. This is not the right order, in my opinion, but if we activate Dark Ruler no more, and then we activate, like, Duster, our opponent can chain the Duster, or chain to the Duster to pop Duster. Uh, or let's see, what can you destroy? Look at one Unchained monster you control and one card on the field. Nah, they actually, never mind. It doesn't matter. They can destroy their own card if they're really feeling like it, to summon back the Unchained Soul of Rage. And then of course they can make SP, and then SP banishes a card, and then SP can banish 2 monsters. So yeah, that's the thing you'll have to deal with. And of course you can't run over any of these guys by battle, because Nightmare Pain, forcing you to attack the Phantom of Yubel. So the best card that you can play, assuming we are going second and they establish the Endboard, it's going to be evenly matched. And then if they have any extra back row, but they don't have like maybe a crossout for evenly, that's about all they can really do, I think. Then evenly will probably leave our opponent on just an Appaloosa. So anything that would have worked on Appaloosa now is just viable now. So if we have Kishtira Fenrir, Fenrir is going to remove most of the Appaloosa negates, and then your opponent will have a hard time playing the next turn. So that'll be helpful, I guess. even if we don't have much else aside from a Fenrir after doing the evenly matched. Well, opponent would need to open the follow-up if they don't have it already. So there is that going for us, my guess. But even bigger than that play is if we have actually taken notice that if we are playing specifically a back row heavy deck, we just only have to look out for Escape of the Unchained. Because all of these interactions are very monster targeted, right? So negate monster. This you could just consider this as remove one special summoned monster, and then also banish a card if you are able to do so, and then negate monsters 3-4 times or whatever, right? So if we actually are not playing a very monster heavy strategy, so let's just go with, for example, well, this isn't necessarily best option. It is an option, I guess. So let's just say, I don't know, final countdown. Sure. This is not like the best trap strategy, but we activate final countdown. Well, not final countdown, I guess, but we can activate all of our trap cards to just stall for like 9 billion years, and we're maybe solid. Question mark. But that's probably not that great. Having trap phase removal probably a lot better. So really good one is probably going to be Dharma Karma Cannon. So the only thing that our opponent can do to our our spells or traps is realistically 3 cards, I believe. So we have Unchained Soul of Rage. We have the if our opponent is playing it, let's see. It does not show up as a relayed card. It shows up for this. Okay. Unchained Abomination, which can pop cards. Access Code Talker, SP Little Knight. So we have all of those cards, but notably, a lot of these cards will just get wiped by the Dharma Karma Cannon, or it's not that much removal. Like, SP is going to only remove 1 card, and our deck consists of at least like 30 back row cards, for example, right? So we're completely golden in that case. And we're absolutely chilling, I guess, right? So we're going to be fine in that regard, I guess. Especially if we don't need to commit any monsters to the board. So that's not bad, right? And then if our opponent here tries to make, I guess, Chaos Angel, that's about the only thing we have to be a little bit afraid of, but still not that bad, I don't think. Dharma Karma Cannon is still like fine in general. It does a lot, honestly. It's better than Atakua or whatever, because it puts, I guess it essentially does put your opponent's monsters to defense position, similarly to that card, but they'll also be able to out some problem cards. Notably, the ones that I think are a problem would be Unchained Abomination or Access Code Talker. If we just remove that, our opponent probably only has either SP or Chaos Angel to remove 2 cards. But I mean, depending on what cards they are exactly, we can just chain them, and then we'll probably be okay, right? We can even use the idea of doing a little bit of baiting, depending on what our opponent has, but Escape of the Unchained is also going to be a bit of a problem card, but once you work through it, our opponent is just going to be completely at our mercy, right? And a lot of these cards just don't have any way of coming back because our opponent, like 99% of the time, I'm pretty sure they won't have a Monster Reborn to like summon back Access Code or something like that. So we should be fine, I think, in that regard. And we can still run like board wipes like Torrential and stuff, right? Not a big deal. The only like issue is that we won't be able to activate cards when we set going second against Escape of the Unchained. So that's probably the only thing we have to super worry about. But yeah, just in general, a lot of these cards are just going to not have any responses to spell or traps or be able to do anything about them. So the best way to clearly deal with the Endboard is to start off by looking at spells and traps. So just avoid monsters as much as possible. So if we want to normal summon a guy, it can get removed by Escape of the Unchained. There's also the fact that I didn't even mention it yet, but this one card combo I believe can also end on uh Ibly locking you, so they have Sprite Elf as well, so they're also now not targetable, and Evenly Matched is actually not activatable. So yeah, that's rough if your opponent does that combo. So in that case, the best card you probably have if that happens, Forbidden Droplet. So maybe a combination of playing like Dark Hole, Forbidden Droplet, and all that will be a bit helpful. So notably, Unchained Soul of Rage will be able to come back because of Yama, but they won't be able to use Escape of the Unchained and Unchained Soul of Rage unless they specifically link climb Unchained Soul of Rage into the Unchained Soul of Anguish. But if they do that, they lose that on SB Little Knight anyways, so it's sometimes relevant, sometimes not, but just in general, it's not going to be that good of a time for you, right? And this Apollosa probably is not going to be made with IP Masquerena, so it will be destructible by card effects, so just dropping a Dark Hole or Raigeki will take care of this. The Phantom of Yubel here cannot be destroyed by battle, but can be destroyed by card effects, so that's also gone. It will allow your opponent, however, to summon, maybe, depending on if they have a Nightmare Throne or not, a Spirit of Yubel, I think, is probably what's going to happen. Will this show up in the related cards? My god. Okay, Nightmare Throne. Once return, if a face-up Yubel monster you control leaves the field, you can add to your hand. Deck graveyard, blah blah blah. Special summon, ignoring its summoning conditions. So, that this could be just about any card, right? So, Yubel, Terror Incarnate. I think it can add either of those. I'm not 100% sure if it can do Spirit of Yubel or not, but I mean, probably, right? Well, we'll just assume it can. No reason to assume not, I guess. So, if we were to look at other traps, though, what other traps do we have? So, one thing that is relatively strong about these guys that's kind of on the down low is that they have 0 attack. And that's useful for a lot of reasons, just randomly. So, cards that, like Slifer, cannot destroy any of these guys because Slifer has to change the attack to 0. So, if it was 0 to begin with, it does not destroy the cards. So, if you normal summon Dark Beckoning Beast, that's fine against Slifer. Yeah, that's pretty annoying, huh? Well, okay. What else do we got here? So, board wipe, trap. That's probably what we'll need to do. So, now that I think about it, well, there's an FTK with Nightmare Fiends, but I believe the trap that you're using, you have to roll back it or it doesn't really work. So I guess that's not really feasible. But I mean, rollback is a card you can play, so that helps, I guess, a little bit. So I've come to one simple conclusion. Just play Paleo, I guess. This is probably the best, like, mostly pure trap deck, right? If not, like, you can run it as, like, a pure trap deck. And you'll probably see the most success with this trap deck, I think, probably. So, yeah. We can do a lot with this, and there is not much negating or outing to be done here. And these guys have this stat line, so we won't get completely run over by, like, these guys, so they can't attack us for game super easily. And there are probably some, like, Bellatrix that we can just utilize to make it so our opponent can't actually game us. And also, they don't have any super good main deck removal to actually remove our Paleo guys over here, so the only way they're going to really remove them is probably by battle. And also, we don't have to worry about battle too much because you usually run, like, um, what's it called? Rise to Full Height and stuff like that to kind of avoid battle anyways, so probably just chillin' if I were to guess. So, yeah. What we're looking at here is probably just all vibes, right? I don't see a really big issue with this. And, of course, there's not that much aggro removal that our opponent has for this. So we're probably just chilling, right? So aside from this, is there any like really good tech for us here? I mean, Forbidden Droplet, Dark Hole, all of those can help, but depends on your build really, like what deck you're playing. If it's good in your deck, just maybe consider playing like Dark Hole, Forbidden Droplet, and maybe Evenly. Evenly is a little harder to get off if your opponent does Ibly, then in that case you also need Lingribo maybe in your extra deck. But you can't even super easily threaten anything with the Lingribo. Because your opponent can like make SP with the Lingribo using Unchained Soul of Rage, and you can't really get the Lingribo off the field. So that's a little bit annoying, but at least you'll be able to special summon again, which is helpful. It won't necessarily get you to the win, because you still have to deal with, exhibit A, B, C, and D over here. One card combo, by the way. So, yeah. Once the board's established, you're just probably going to get cooked, and also hand traps, for the most part, not going to do you that much good, but I mean, Ghost Ogre is pretty good, I guess. So if we can get rid of the Nightmare Pain, that will help out a little bit, and you'll probably only have to stare down a Phantom of Yubel with no Nightmare Pain, so that's probably not that bad. I would think, at least. So Ghost Ogre right now is actually pretty valuable. That there are a lot of different points where you can use Ghost Ogre, and it's just useful in general right now. But it's not useful against like Snake Eye, which is like awkward. I mean, like, there are uses for this, but they're not like insanely good. I think the best time to probably Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit against like Snake Eye is probably against the Promethean Princess, so they don't like climb like as high. That might be as much damage as you can do, or perhaps like destroying a field spell. That is also not bad. Like the Snake Eye field spell, you could technically destroy that, but that's probably not gonna do much. The Fire King field spell though, that'll do a good amount of damage to your opponent, probably. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. And if you guys have any ideas or any decks or builds that are going to be effective against like Yubel, feel free to share in the comments below. Because right now I am seeing like nothing that's like super good matchup wise against Yubel. So if we have like Kaiju's as well, still not that great either. I guess if we might as well throw in Kaiju's because Ibly, right? So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.